I'm Puppy Cute, and welcome back to my Stardew Valley Riverlands 100 Days farm. I really enjoyed this farm type, and I'm so proud of how it turned out, so here it all is. Day 57, I started with clearing up the dead crops around the farm. I also started to move around the crops to make a new spot for planting pumpkins. I would definitely be wanting a shed soon, since I plan to turn all of these into juice. I moved my jades into my farmhouse because it was interfering with my pumpkins a little. I then went to Pierre's to start shopping for fall crops and things I would need for the community center. I took everything home and planted it all, finishing the day with tending to my animals, and I got to level 8 foraging. Day 58, I started farming copper to get material for more kegs, since I would be needing lots for my pumpkins. I spent the whole day doing this, getting tons of copper by the end of it. Day 59, I woke up to a jade harvest, then went back to mining for more copper, but decided to grab my star drop too while down here, since it had just been sitting here. On day 60, I got the wine for the community center bundle and spent the rest of the day farming for coal. I realized I was close to completing the dust sprite goal, so I went ahead and achieved that while down here. I went and picked it up, equipping it right away. Day 61, we got a harvest of oak resin plus a rabbit's foot from the traveling cart. I walked into town to see the quest board was also getting built, and I took the curious substance quest. I grabbed my pickaxe and got it upgraded since it was still just copper. I went home after making more copper to craft some taps to put onto oak trees. Day 62, I crafted a seed maker to start converting my ancient fruit into seeds. I spent the rest of the day in the mines, also getting the ecto for the quest. Day 63, I grabbed some hardwood from the secret woods and grabbed my pickaxe afterwards. I also found some scrolls in the woods and donated them since I was right next door. I then went to Robin's to construct a stable for a horse, but I had no idea where to place it on my farm. I forgot to bring the ecto to the wizard while over here before, but I still got that to him. I ventured off into the desert to trade my jade since it was a Sunday, and while here I fished up the sandfish for the community center too. Since I had so many items to deliver there, I brought a haul to the community center to finish this day. On day 64, my apple tree was finally done growing. I spent the rest of the day in the mines, mostly getting copper, but I left early because I almost died. Day 65, my pig was grown up. I also didn't realize it, but the horse stable was ready and built. I took the cave patrol quest, but I don't think I ever finished it. I went into the mines to start farming bomb materials, plus no idea when this happened, but I got an entire iridium bar. Also getting to level 9 combat. On day 66, I got a third apple for the community center. I also got a new baby chicken since I put in an extra egg. I couldn't think of what to do, so I started to farm my forage levels. I decided to finish my mastery so I could boost it tons when harvesting starfruits on the island. I got back home and finished the day with a jade harvest. Day 67, I spent entirely chopping down trees for my foraging levels. On day 68, I crafted an oil maker to start turning my truffles into oil. I got another oak resin harvest and collected it all. This would be so amazing for kegs. I went to the traveling cart while on the way to the woods, finally finding the red cabbage seed. I went into the secret woods to collect my hardwood and foraging experience, finishing the day in the mines. I scored a prismatic shard from a void spirit. Day 69, a little bit of our pumpkin harvest was ready to be collected, but it didn't give me enough gold quality to toss into the bundles. I started setting up my kegs in the farmhouse, all for the pumpkins to turn them into juice. After spending some time in the mines, I remembered I still needed to go catch an eel for the community center, so I ran to the beach to get that done, successfully catching one. Day 70, all of my pumpkins were done, and a giant pumpkin actually ended up growing. This was sad to me because I knew it would be better as profits on this save, so I cut her down too. I put away what was needed for the community center and carried on with the rest of the harvest. While harvesting the other side, I got to level 10 farming. This was great since these pumpkins would be turned into juice. I headed over to Pierre's to buy more pumpkins to replant everything that I had just harvested. I took them home and planted them all, and while at the traveling cart, I bought a rare seed too. I collected hardwood and cleared out some trees on the farm. I also made the discovery of a mushroom tree at the bottom of my farm, ending the day with choosing artisan for my level 10 farming. Day 71, I started with getting the corn needed for the greenhouse bundles, and since I cut out so many, I planted more trees with fertilizer to keep going on foraging levels. I went to, of course, start filling out the greenhouse bundles, also seeking other items for the community center. I completed the fish tank well here too. Then just like that, only a few more items would be needed for the community center. I set off on an adventure to find a hazelnut since I hadn't grabbed one yet. I went out to the secret woods later to keep farming foraging levels since I was plenty good on my hardwood amount. I ended the day with the Junimos, fixing up the greenhouse, and level 9 foraging. Day 72, I started started right away with getting the ancient seeds planted into the greenhouse. I kind of accidentally forgot about the fair entirely, so I quickly put together this display that I did not think would come of anything, but we still hit first place prize. I played the fishing minigame to get the rest of my tokens needed for that star drop purchase. Day 73, a few kegs were ready, so I harvested those and filled them back up. Got more oak resin for even more kegs that I would definitely be needing. I went back inside to fill up some more, and I couldn't wait to see the profit off of these. I decided since I was going for mastery, combat was also needing some attention too. So I went into the skull caverns, died, then went back home. Day 74, more kegs were ready with more juice, so I refilled them all again. Afterwards, I caught a fish and went to buy some rice from Pierre so I could make the little sushi roll needed for the community center. I went home and made my roll along with getting a jade harvest. I finished this day mining for more gold, hoping to do a skull cavern run again soon. Day 75, I started with another oak resin harvest, then carried on to plant more trees for foraging. Foraging was going really slow for me if you couldn't tell. Day 76, Evelyn stopped by with a crafting recipe for garden pots. After she left, I went into the mines to start getting more iron. When I got home, I put aside more items for the community center as well. Day 77 was a giant pumpkin juice harvest. So I decided it was time to build a shed because I was going to have so much more to keg soon. But like always, I had no idea where to actually put this thing at first. After finding a spot, I took my jades to the desert to trade them all for stairs since I had a lot that piled up. Afterwards, I got bored and decided to go crack open some geodes for the first time on this save and actually do something with my museum. I went back home to start cutting more trees down, seeing a little progress on the foraging level start to go up. Day 78 wasn't the best of luck days, but I still wanted to do a skull cavern dive since it had been such a long time by now. The luck was irrelevant overall since I came home with level 10 combat, 6 prismatic shards, and over 300 iridium. Day 79, I started moving all of my kegs into the shed since it was done now. I also learned that I could potentially make winter roots into snow yams, which would be great for getting the craft room all done. So I spent the day making those and putting them into my greenhouse. On day 80, I started more tree farming for the foraging level, and now I was at the halfway point. I also started to farm up some fiber to make more trees and more fertilizer. I went back home to place it all, finishing the day with getting a void egg witch visit. Day 81, I spent the day farming for more fiber and actually found a mushroom level, which was a sprinkle into the foraging level up even more. On day 82, I got the red cabbage and stored it away, then went right back to more tree work, planting and fertilizing more. I went around finding more trees to chop afterwards, finding a foraging book along the way. Day 83 started with our last pumpkin harvest of the season. I went and kegged all of them, then kind of spent the rest of the day looking for any forage, but found nothing. Thankfully, day 84 brought tons of goods, bringing us the last item needed for the community center, and tons of it. I went to Pierre's to buy the backpack upgrade so I can get everything done at once with the community center items and some museum donations too. And of course, I set off to get the community center filled in and said goodbyes to the Junimos. After that, I took tons of items to the museum to keep filling it in more, but I didn't really have a plan of finishing it before this run would be over. I took my hoe to get an upgrade since I would be needing that on the island soon. The Junimos fixed the last of the town and brought our end to fall. Day 85 began with Gunther coming to the farm and handing me the rusty key, gaining me access to the sewers now. I started cutting down more trees to get my foraging level up, and after cutting them all, I encountered the silly little shadow guy, so we can now read secret notes. I walked into town to trigger the community center cutscene as well, and after a secret woods visit and another tree chopped, I got mastery unlocked finally, where I chose botanist. Day 86, I got the mail from Willie telling us that we can start repairing the Ginger Island boat, but before doing that, I grabbed my steel hoe so we would have it for the island. I then got to Willie's shop and gave all items needed for the repair, meaning we'd be able to set off for Ginger Island the next day. After fixing his boat, I went into the skull cavern to start farming up my mastery experience as well, since this would be the fastest way to do so, ending the day with the boat repair cutscene. Day 87, I started looking over the hall. Upon checking my coop, we got the pop-up of the baby void chicken being here. We also had a pumpkin juice harvest ready, so I collected all my riches from the shed. I got back into the skull caverns instead of going straight to Ginger Island since I wanted mining mastery before going over there. This was so I could mass produce all my iron and copper into keg materials when star fruits came in. I got my mining mastery at the end of the the day and an oak resin harvest as well. Day 88 was time to get on the island. So I started by going to Sandy's, buying some starfruit and speed growth since she has it on Thursdays. I then took my watering can to get an upgrade because I would need at least a copper one to complete the silly puzzle of Ginger Island's little wormhole guy. And after upgrading, I set off to the island. I of course got right on the golden walnut numbers so I could start unlocking parts of the island and as quickly as possible. I've memorized where most are by now, so I got a good amount on the first day here, also unlocking the farm side of the island. I got right on clearing up the island. I finally got everything cleared and started planting as much as I had the time to. Day 89, I made some more kegs since I would be needing tons. I went back and planted the rest of the starfruit with speed grow, and now had a goal for this save, which was reaching 1 million gold by the end of the year. I moved all of my kegs onto the island so it would be easier to fill them when the starfruits were done. I took a try at the memory game, but if you were around when I used to stream my perfection saves, you already know how this went. But I still tried for the rest of this day. Day 90, I picked up my watering can and went straight to disturb this little worm guy. I unlocked the dig site, but I didn't have any bombs to help Professor Snail escape the cave. I went into the mines to try to find some more golden walnuts from mining and combat, and ended up getting 2 from mining and 1 from combat. Day 91, I went right back since I would be needing the farmhouse unlocked. I wanted to find way more walnuts. This time I got 2 from combat and 3 from mining. I also got to the end of the volcano trying my luck with forging. I got artful, which would have been better by far on a hammer. I went back through collecting cinder shards around the floor so I could try again with the enchantments. Day 92, I warped back onto the island after passing out in the volcano. I should have left them when I made it to the end so I could unlock the farmhouse, but I did that today so it's fine. I went back up to the dig site after since I had bombs this time, freeing the professor and unlocking his little tent. I went back to the forge with the cinder shards from last night and got bug killer, then crusader. I tried to go back to farming cinder shards, but died, so I just did the walk of shame back home and slept. But day 93, I got right back in, looking for more walnuts and also blowing up rocks to try to get more journal scraps since they sometimes meant more walnuts. I spent the rest of the day doing this to try to unlock the Parrot Express. Day 94, I used the journal scraps to find my walnuts and unlocked it. I warped home after getting an oak resin harvest and grabbing my beehive while here. I wanted this so I could have honey producing on the island for more farm warp totems. I found Linus to gift him so I could unlock his sashimi recipe since mussels were a part of my life now. I went into the sewers because I realized I never went and bought the star drop from Crovis, also paying Gus a visit to buy some coffee. While home, I found some random pumpkins that were just sitting around, so I took them back with me. I finished the day with going back to the forge and looking for more cinder shards. Day 95, I started fishing for walnuts that unlocked my mailbox. This was because I didn't want to go back home to check the mail for Linus's recipe. By the end of that, I fished up 4 snake skulls as well, but my mailbox was unlocked and the recipe was obtained. I went to get some dig site stuff done, then went home to start prettying up my farm. I started this process with a well since I think this makes a good decoration on farms. Day 96, I tried to go to Robin's to buy the furniture catalog, but I didn't realize it would cost me 200,000 gold. I would be needing my starfruit first. So instead, I went home and rearranged some things, planned where crops would go, and all of that fun stuff. I checked up on my greenhouse and saw the sweet gemberry was done too. I took that over to the secret woods to get my star drop. Day 97, I went to the island for the rainy day, made some iridium bars to start selling, and went to look for my gem bird. I placed the ruby on the stone for the east side of the island where I found her. And while waiting for my iridium to finish, I tried out the memory game again, which went just as good as the first time. I sold my iridium, really wanting that furniture catalog, but thankfully on day 98 the starfruits were ready and I got to harvesting them all, also getting the walnuts for crop harvesting on the island. Before going to sell them, I took some gems to the desert to trade, getting spicy eels and jades for stairs. I sold the ones with quality to Pierre, obviously going straight to Robin's to buy my catalog. I returned to the island to keg some starfruits, also getting pumpkin juice, and just to be silly, I started to use the furniture catalog on my Ginger Island house, spending the rest of the day decorating the side room. It honestly did not turn out horrible. Day 99, I harvested the rest of the starfruit that I would be planting, since I had no reason to replant anything on the island. I ended up seeing the aquamarine bird on my farm too, so I got that and took the snake vertebrae to Professor Snail before putting the gem on the shrine for the west side. I went home after, planning to decorate more, but shifted my focus on clearing out the farm some. On day 100, I did more planning for the farm layout and got a little of it decorated. I planned on moving the shed and placing down an extra silo too. Day 101, we'll start with a little farm tour, showing the spots I've started planning, and I decided this is what I'll probably be doing for the rest of the run. I love decorating farms during winter since there is so much free time. I then went down into the mines to start farming up some fiber since I wanted trees to be a part of this farm's finished picture, and after the foraging grind, I was out of fiber. I decided to go farm cloth as well, needing 4 pieces to build a mill, which I wanted for the same reason that I built the well. After getting what I needed, I worked quickly to the mountains and got it built just in time. Day 102, we're starting with even more decor, specifically where the mill would be built. I was hoping for a new catalog soon because I was already running out of things to do with this one. I moved on from decor and started planning where some crops would go instead, and finished the day with more fiber farming. Day 103 started with the raccoon tree falling over, but they're kind of too much effort. I've got farm to decorate. Speaking of, I went to the traveling cart to see if she had a new catalog for me, but nothing. I returned home just to detail the farm some more. And day 104, I'm doing another progress tour because I was actually becoming really proud of my work, even if I just had the one catalog to work with. But since the traveling cart was back tomorrow, I was hoping for a new catalog, and while waiting for the starfruit on the island to be done processing, I farmed for fiber but accidentally stayed too late to make it back on time. Day 105, I went straight to the traveling cart to check for a catalog, and she had the retro one. This was a pretty good catalog to me, expanding my options at least for interior maybe. I went to the island right after to finally grab my starfruit riches, selling them to Pierre and hitting the 1 million gold mark. Heading home afterwards to play with my new catalog when it suddenly hit me that Krobus has another catalog I could have been using in his shop. Day 106, even more cute details were added onto the farm, and I kind of spent the entire day on just more decorating. I was really liking the outcome of everything. And on day 107, I realized I didn't have much to do with the exterior of the farm. I started on the interior of the farmhouse instead. On day 108, I slept through because I was absolutely out of ideas for what to do on this save. But on day 109, I attended the winter feast to see if I could get lucky enough to score the tea set for the first time since I got this game in 2022. I got 12 eggs. Thank you, Marnie. Day 110, I checked the traveling cart to see if she was carrying the Junimo catalog since it was the last one I needed and desired the most, but nothing. So instead, I slept until spring, starting to clear out the debris and prettying up the farm to get it ready for its final look. And this is the big reveal. I think I did really well with filling in this space with what I had available to me. I did want to put up more farm buildings just for the sake of decor, but there really wasn't enough time to build and start upgrades on them all, but I am still in love with the finished product even if I kept some spaces a little more bare than others. But this is the end of my year on the Riverlands farm. I really rate this one high up, and I am quite shocked that it's the farm I started this series with, but at the end of the series, my community now has to vote for which farm type comes next. And thank you so much for watching this video because it took so much time and effort to make. Goodbye!